What's up, YouTube? This is your friendly neighborhood movie nerd, back to give you guys everything that is going on in the world of movies and TV, and we are into what I would call round 3 or 4. I'm still not sure whether to count Downsizing as really an Oscar review, just because that movie did not turn out at all what I thought it was going to be, but whatever the case may be, we are in the next round of my Oscar reviews, and for this one, I am reviewing one that definitely got a lot of hype coming out of film festivals from the very beginning of the year. So this is my review for Call Me By Your Name.
Pretend you never did.
Nature has cunning ways of finding our weakest spot.
Call me by your name and I'll call you by mine.
Call Me By Your Name is directed by Luca Guadagnino, the director of A Bigger Splash, and stars Timothée Chalamet as Elio Perlman, a 17-year-old kid who's spending the summer of 1983 with his parents in their villa in the Italian countryside. Things change when an American exchange student, Oliver, played by Armie Hammer, comes to stay with them in order to study with Elio's father, Dr. Perlman, played by Michael Stuhlbarg, and from here, a passionate bond forms between Elio and Oliver, giving us as viewers yet another LGBTQ love story to follow up on the success of Moonlight from last year. Now, this film is one that I've been hearing a lot about since the beginning of the year, and it has gotten nothing but absolute praise all around the board. Praise for the director, praise for all the performances, praise for how the film doesn't feel like a conventional 2017 film. Praise all around. And I have to say, after having finally watched the film, maybe not all of that praise is deserved. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still a very good film, but that's the key word here, good, not great. Now, granted, mostly everything that everyone was praising this movie for was on point. The cinematography and set design, I think, is spectacular, and the performances are all good. For me, the standout and the one who deserves the nomination the most is Timothée Chalamet, who delivers quite possibly the most subtle performance of the year as Elio. A big thing about this performance is that it's a lot more physical than it appears, a little bit on the nose, mostly because his dialogue, which is few and far between, it isn't very showy, which also plays into the whole overall theme of this movie, in which Luca does an amazing job of blending the traditional 3-act structure into the day in the life, fly on the wall moniker that makes this film feel more like a period of time in these characters' lives rather than a story, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Now, this also leads into some of the problems that I have with this movie, which is where, even though the dialogue isn't showy and very subtle, it also comes off as a tad bit disinteresting, and the first act, while obviously it's necessary, it drags like absolute crazy. This is another 2-hour-long movie that does not at all need to be 2 hours long, and you can definitely feel it. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need the setup, because obviously that is crucial to any movie, but there were definitely scenes that could have been cut in order to make this flow a lot more smoothly. Also, I would say that because the dialogue wasn't as gritty and interesting, it also made the love story kind of come off as a little bit shallow and surface level and not nearly as interesting as I would have thought. And despite the fact that nobody in this movie gives a bad performance per se, the problem is that I was really looking forward to seeing some great supporting performances from Armie Hammer and Michael Stuhlbarg, and at least in my mind, not one of them delivered. They were both good, and they definitely had both some really good moments, but they didn't really stand out to me, which is why I can't see any of them being nominated for supporting actor. It was also kind of really jarring because in the beginning, Armie Hammer kind of comes off as a douche and just like playing another typical guy that he's played in any one of his movies before you really start to see the tender moments between him and Elio, so that's a little bit jarring to watch. If there was any word to describe this movie, I would definitely say overhyped. I know it isn't really fair to compare this movie to Moonlight, considering Moonlight, I would say, is a tale of survival before anything else even remotely to being about LGBTQ relationships, but considering that this was being hyped up as the next big LGBTQ movie that was going to get a bunch of Oscars, it does feel like a tad bit of a letdown. It's still really well made, and the film looks absolutely gorgeous, and it does play out like a foreign film, which doesn't make it feel like a conventional 2017 film, and its power certainly does come from subtlety, but it also may have been just a little bit too subtle and subdued and surface level for my tastes, which is why this movie only gets 7.5 out of 10 stars from me. So that is it. That is my review for Call Me By Your Name, and this is most likely going to be my last review that I do for a little bit, considering I will be on vacation for the next week, but once I get back, do not worry, I will be back to reviews galore. So let me know what you guys thought of this movie in the comments below and of my review. Also, be sure to click that like button and that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Movie Nerd Review. Also, head on over to my website, movienerdreviews.com. That is it. I will see you guys next time. Go!